Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? How y'all doing? He just said, somebody in the chat just said these intros always catch me off guard. How you doing? What's up? What's popping? Game 5 of not so exciting of a series, of not so exciting of a NBA playoffs due to injuries and whatnot. We didn't get to see some stuff outside of the Milwaukee Nets series, which was obviously hampered by injuries, but at least we got some excitement. There's been a lot of close games in those games specifically. Do they impact the series as much? And we'll see. Hopefully Trae Young is healthy, so the East series stays somewhat exciting as it has been for 2 of the first 3 games. But how y'all doing today? We're talking about Game 5 from a money line standpoint, a spread standpoint, a probability, a betting standpoint overall. Player props, got some of those, and then obviously DFS, where we make ourselves comfy. The home roots of DFS. How you doing? See some people in the chat. So yeah, the next however many minutes, 45 minutes or so, are going to be just me and all of you. Question and answers, Q&A about Game 5 tonight. The Suns versus the Clippers. And we got some news. We got some news right now. Zubac, Zubac is questionable. Leave it to the Clippers to not really go with small ball, although Marcus Morris being banged up is probably the main reason why they haven't tried too much small ball. Batum at the 5 and Paul George at the 5 probably doesn't make as much sense. But leave it to the Clippers to wait till possibly the last possible minute to go for a small ball lineup in that final 2 minutes of the last game. And might be too little too late as it appears now down 3-1 on the road today. But hey, look, if they can somehow snag out a win today, as they are right now implied in many markets, including Poly Market, they're implied right now for a 30% win probability, right? They're 6-point underdogs. This morning it was 5.5. At times earlier today, you could have got it at 5. That was all the public money saying, oh, the Clippers, 6 points, that's a lot. Not understanding what's happening with the Clippers. Zubac questionable. Marcus Morris banged up. Obviously no Kawhi. This team is gassed. This team is outmatched. They haven't even gotten, Chris Paul's played 2 games. He hasn't even really played. He's played terrible, and they're still winning these games, right? So you saw the public take some of the early actions, early bets placed to move that line to -5 in some spots. And now pretty much across the board in all the betting markets, it's right now around 6. So, yes. I see Paul in the chat. He says, what's up? He says, let's go, boss man. Cody says, Sal, what's good? Appreciate you from the beginning, doggy. Appreciate you as well. Hopefully, Cody, yourself, hopefully you're doing well. Yourself, everybody else. We're here for the next couple of weeks for the NBA, right? When the NBA Finals are starting July 8th, I believe. They could start earlier if the East ends early, which it could in 5 games. But I believe the 8th is the date right now. So mid-July, we'll be done with NBA. And then it's just all aboard the NFL train. August 5th, first preseason game. We can't wait. Cody also says, Sal, hope you figured the tractor ish out. Yeah, we figured it out. Kind of still waiting to get my new card. But personally, I can't get off of Aaron Rodgers in the captain spot. Thoughts? Join us on Patreon. Thanks, Sal, later. Yeah, Cody, yeah. Sign up for Patreon if you'd like to down below. We have all this stuff for tonight. MLB, PGA, this upcoming week. And then, of course, MMA, UFC, big event coming up in a couple weeks, 2 weeks. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers in the captain spot sounds pretty damn good. How's everybody feeling? What's going on, guys? Anthony. What a wild last name. Almendinger. What a name. Chris Middleton, I'm always in this pre-stream lobby, and his intros always catch me off and scare the tits out of me. Never ready for the fellas at the volume. Fellas. What's going on, fellas? How you doing? Matt P says, Chris Middleton, he went the fuck off. What did he score? 38? What did he score? He went the fuck off. You think Batum's going to step his shit up today? Batum, it's not anything for Batum. I mean, it's not Batum's fault that his coach isn't playing in minutes. He did close out the last game. He will play if they play small ball lineups. Look, Batum was playing a lot in the first 2 series because they went more small ball lineups. Zubac started to not play as much. Now they're going more Zubac lineups because he's actually playing well. He's switching properly on defense. He's overall playing solid on offense, picking up rebounds, playing big minutes. He's playing, and Booker has not been good in the ISO game against Pat Beverly, so that kind of stabilizes what they can do there from a switching pick and roll standpoint. Chris Paul in the pick and roll does not look to be that crisp right now. He's not scoring at a high clip, so if he's not threatening you, Zubac doesn't have to come off the court. Now, from a offensive standpoint, Zubac is getting you maybe some offensive rebounds, but, I mean, him scoring 13 points, is that really helping you space the floor? Is that really helping you get in a rhythm, open up some three-pointers? Not really. So from a pure standpoint on offense, yeah, going small ball, maybe that can counteract and get DeAndre Ayton off the court. It probably won't. It didn't work in games 1, in like 1.5. So, yeah, the Marcus Morris injury is looming large. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard is looming large. That's the biggest one. But Marcus Morris being banged up, they can't go as securely to the small ball 5. He is clearly hobbled out there, and it's not working as much. If Zubac is out, does Ayton look even better? Yeah, Ayton looks even better, but honestly, it might not be that much better. Like, Ayton played 41.5 minutes in the last game because Zubac played 40. If they go small ball and they're having success with the small ball lineup, Ayton might only play 34, 35 minutes. So if you're somebody who wants to play Ayton today, you probably want to see Zubac out there for another 40 minutes. Because Ayton, I'll take Ayton one-on-one with Zubac. He did fine against Jokic in the last series. So, yeah, Ayton, the reason why is he gets more opportunity. Somebody says Zubac is in. That news might have just come out if Zubac is in because earlier today. So, I don't know if you've checked. Whoever just said Zubac is in. About an hour ago, Zubac was ruled questionable today, and he is questionable as of 3 hours ago. So, he was in this morning, and now he is officially questionable. Yes. Rodgers is giving -5.5 tonight. Somebody says, there we go. Correct. Nice. Appreciate the Hawaiian shirt vibes. Yeah, man, I got to get more. I got this one. I love these types of shirts. I got to find more. And this has good quality as well. Is zeroing a lineup in SuperDraft always a minus EV move? Minus EV move if you're just trying to take a zero to try and, I don't get it. Is zeroing a lineup in SDs in SuperDraft always a minus EV move? What do you mean, Downs? What do you mean by zeroing, if you can clarify that for me? What two guys would you use for the captain spot tonight? Lovely question. The two guys I would be using in the captain spot tonight, for me personally, would be 1, Paul George, and 2, Chris Paul. I think my favorite captain option tonight is going to end up being Chris Paul. Play Torrey Craig or DeMarcus Cousins. Yeah, I mean, that's a brutal move, right? I mean, Torrey Craig lost his minutes to Nader, who finally played in the postseason, Abdel Nader. So that was good to see. He played 5.4 minutes. He took Torrey Craig's minutes. I would say if you're going to play one of them, you play Cousins if Zubac is out. That's the answer. If not, you go Torrey Craig because Craig has a better chance of playing 5 minutes than Cousins does today. Thoughts on putting Booker at captain statement game to close out the series? Yeah, Booker's been struggling. The face mask obviously has been affecting him. He threw that thing off and he played better in the fourth quarter at least. Pat Beverly's been affecting him. But yes, if you want to say he is due, as bad of analysis as that is, him and Chris Paul have been playing terrible. So is McCall Bridges in this series. I mean, when 3 of your 5 starters are playing terrible, I mean, Jay Crowder's doing his own thing. Ayton's playing through the roof, even in that last game, which was terrible for everybody. He's still playing fine, shooting 57%, 9 boards, couple blocks, right? Was the highest plus-minus player in the game at +9. He's playing great on defense. So Ayton has been the best player in this postseason for them. Yes, Booker has had his one big game against the Lakers, which Ayton also played fantastic, gets overshadowed. Yes, Booker had the big game one in this one with the mid-range. Oh, yeah, Ayton also played fantastic, right? So I would say that right now, as it stands, I would take Chris Paul over Booker in the captain spot. You also do get the benefit of a price discount. It's not massive. It's $400. It could be the difference in leaving an extra $400 on the table, though, right? Right now, projection-wise, I have Booker for an extra points, but I do think that you'll be getting yourselves a little bit more. What happened to the golf shows, says Joseph. Yeah, it's just a timing thing for me. I'm prepping a lot of stuff so obviously these NBA shows, prepping a lot of stuff in the background for NFL, both the draft guide that will be releasing on Thursday, July 1st for everybody who's pre-ordered it. And then also, not only that, but you're going to be seeing videos start to come out from 3 to 4 times a week from July to August, and then 5 times a week with the preseason rolling out. So prepping a lot of stuff for NFL plus the NBA. Something had to go, and unfortunately it's golf. As much as I like golf, it's not demanding to cover it. It's just demanding at the beginning of the week. My busiest days are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And obviously that's when you have to cover golf, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if it was like a Friday or thing, like a weekend thing, it'd be easy. I would get all the stuff in and space it out. Zubac is an easy fade today. Yeah, he's banged up now. Thoughts on Booker statement game to close out? All right. Yes. So has anybody taken any side of this game? Earlier in the video, we said -5.5, and we're talking betting here. Has anybody taken a side in this one? Maybe a total? Anybody taking a spread? I want to know where people are at. I am right now at -5.5. It's at -6 in many of spots. You could have got it at -5 earlier today. I think that's when some public money came in. Zubac sprained MCL. Batum will likely play more today. I hope so. I mean, I have him for a couple more minutes. I'm going to see what the final report is to make a move on that. DraftKings has him listed as playing, went from questionable to, and yeah, Nathan, don't trust DraftKings reporting. DraftKings reporting is going to be very much not accurate. The actual injury report still has him questionable. No update there. SuperDraft picks, thanks. The top SuperDraft plays today for me are going to be, if Ivica Zubac plays and is healthy, he will be the top play. Otherwise, it's Reggie Jackson, Pat Beverly, Terrence Mann, Paul George, and Chris Paul. in that specific order, possibly. Do you think Cam Payne has a bounce back game today? I don't see how. He didn't have a bad game. Like, he shot 2 of 8. That's bad, right? It's not fantastic, but he didn't, like, it's not like he played 30 minutes and sucked, right? He played 20 minutes, 19 and a half. He's coming off an injury where he did not look as explosive, if you will. He did not push towards the basket as much. He settled for more mid-range shots, which is somewhat of his game, but more so going to the basket and being aggressive. But I don't see where he gets more minutes. Like, at his price point, at 20 minutes, you know Devin Booker's playing to 40 to 42 today. Close this thing out at home, maybe 43. You know Chris Paul's playing minimum of 37, probably 38 to 40. And in that last game, Chris Paul only played 37 and a half. Booker only played 40. So, like, Cam Payne, I have him at 20, but that's like a high number for him at this point, right? It's tough to see more, in my opinion. Sal, anywhere on NBA ownership? I know we were close a while back. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a next season thing. I have everything set up for next season, though. Well, now it's been a year of actually collecting data. About a year. We lost some because of COVID last year. But should be in a situation where I can have it all set up for the beginning of next season. But that is going to be a if and when we get there type of situation. Like, I have the ability to do it. It's just a matter of if I'm going to be covering NBA to the exact same extent or not next season. Thoughts on Patrick Beverly? He looks great. Patrick Beverly looks like the best quote-unquote value option today. I don't know how he's still 3,200. I have Patrick Beverly projected for 30-plus minutes, and we can pull up the minutes right now. I have Beverly today at 31 minutes. Rondo didn't play in the last game, as he should not have. His minutes were coming down, and now he is out of the rotation. When Patrick Beverly is just, I mean, the face mask might be doing something. The broken nose for Booker might be doing something, of course. It could just be a slow slump. But since game 1, Booker has not played well, and that's a lot has to do with Patrick Beverly, especially these last 2 games. 0-5 from three-point range last time. Booker was not doing well in ISO against Beverly. Booker was not getting open shots. He was settling for the mid-range jump shots, not at the elbow, the ones that he does not like to take, off balance, turn around, hectic, not high quality, right? Sal, happy Monday, brother. Favorite core for SuperDraft today. Thanks, man. SuperDraft, Zubac is going to look like a solid play if he's healthy. He's questionable right now, so track that, and he might be playing banged up either way. But Reggie Jackson and Patrick Beverly especially, massive multiplier for Beverly on SuperDraft, 2.65x. I thought Sal moved to Texas, not Florida, somebody said. Yeah. The weather is bringing out these shirts. Reggie Jackson, captain spot today. It's been working out once or twice in the playoffs. For me today, no, but if he knocks down most of his 7 3-pointers, it's going to look pretty damn good. So where are people at right now? Somebody says I have the Suns first half -2. Okay. Suns, Astros, moneyline parlay. Okay. I think it's funny as fuck, somebody says. My mama's in the chat. She says, watching you by the pool. My mom's at the pool right now. Shout out Mama Vetri. Can you show your DraftKings lineups that you have since Sandman mods? I can help you with yours, but showing mine would not help really anybody. They're just straight losing lineups. Moore should play better too. If he's getting healthier, that's the thing. So I'm going to pull this up right now. You can see in the top corner of the screen, it says Poly Market. So you might be asking yourselves, well, what is Poly Market? It's a very interesting concept that was brought to my attention recently. So some of you might not be in legal betting states where you can bet on sports. This is blockchain based. And now that might be scary to some people out there, but don't worry. As somebody who's not super experienced with the blockchain, it's very, very simple to understand. So Poly Market is just kind of, it's a market, right? It's not a sports book. They don't take a rake in-house. So if they're not taking a rake, they don't have to abide by any of the sports book's rules because they're not taking a rake. So you can, for this game tonight, it's basically money line. So it's like a money line type of bet that you can place and you can trade here. So I ended up working through it earlier. You can see the percentages. So the Suns right now are 70 cents to buy a share of the Suns tonight to win this game. Straight out win, not the spread. The Clippers are 30 cents. So what this basically is probabilities. 70% chance for the Suns, 30% for the Clippers. Now, earlier today, you could have gotten the Suns right here at 64 cents. 64 cents for a team that is currently implied in the odds market, too. This is where their odds are currently sitting at, around 72%. So their odds based on the markets right now, the betting markets, is saying that the Suns have a 72.2% chance of winning tonight. That's where you're seeing basically. And right now, they're only selling for 70%. So you're actually getting a little bit of a discount in here, outside of like the obvious entertainment of having your money where your mouth is, right? To put your money where your mouth is on Poly Market. Outside of that, you actually have a little bit of leverage here. And you had even more earlier today at 64 cents. So you can trade on this. It is linked down below. If you want to try it out, you could use the code SAL. That's the only way you'll get any of your first trades placed and any of your first bets. They will match it up to $100. Very similar to some other offers that we've had in the past, but you have to use the code SAL to get that. So yeah, you can check it out. It's available in all states. It is lower fees than most sports books. They only charge a 2% overall fee to use the platform, where sports books are taking a 5 to 15% rake. Draftkings DFS is taking a 15 to 18% rake, right? So it's pretty crazy. You can bet on this live at any point. So it's just live trading throughout the entire time if you wanted to get out of it. It's pretty interesting, I would say. And if you do place anything into the market, you will be entered into a chance to win finals tickets. But it's cool. I ended up putting, just to test it out, I put $100 US in, and I used 10 in the marketplace just to get the test out. It was filled. The order was filled like within 5 seconds. It was pretty cool. We'll reference that, though. And it's something I want to continue to reference because the fact that it is low fees. Low fees is something you should be looking at for everything, whether it's your real estate, whether it's your actual retirement or any type of investments, right? Low fees, as low as fees as you can find, is much lower than sports books in general. And because it's accessibility, right? If you're a believer in the blockchain, that's the reason to use it in general. If you don't give a fuck about that at all, well, maybe you'll start to care a little bit more and learn about it as time goes on. But also, it's available in all states, where obviously, if you're trying to get sports books, it's not. So you can check that out down below. We'll talk more about that as we go through and see if the market moves at all. Let's see if it's moved from 70. Is that 64% earlier? They have a 70. It's now down to 69. So lucky number 69. So there's even more of an edge. The Suns have a 72% chance to win tonight based on the betting markets, which are a sharper market than just a general market like this would be. And this is saying that they have a 69%. So there's a built-in edge already. I thought, what's up, Sal? Did you talk price picks already? I jumped in a few minutes late. Yeah, so we took some props earlier today in the prop markets. We ended up taking the over on Patrick Beverly's fantasy points at 15. We took Ivica Zubac under 10.5 rebounds. That was before this injury news came out. So obviously, if he doesn't play, we're just going to get that one refunded back to us. But we hope that he plays and maybe he doesn't play as much. I thought the reason I took the 10.5 was he was playing a little bit out of his mind. He was playing massive minutes. And I think they're going to go more small ball to get more three-point shooters on the court to just try and have an offensive game, which is what Ty Lue and this Clippers team normally does. Like, Ty Lue is an offensive coach. He's not going to go defense. He has defensive guys and offensive guys. Like Marcus Morris is both. Reggie Jackson this series has somehow found defense and is both. Paul George is both, right? And then McCall Bridges over 11.5 points. Bridges is going to shoot a 3. The shot attempts have come down the last couple of games, but I'm not too concerned about that. I think it's a small sample thing, and the fact that he shot 0 threes in the last game is clearly not going to continue for a guy shooting 4 or 5 a game. Bev is very popular. I don't know about it anymore. Yeah, Bev is very popular, but I just don't see where else there is to go if you're talking the showdown slates tonight. Because, look, in general, in showdown slates, you're not going to have much, right? You're not going to have much of an ability to do a lot out there. So I don't know where, in terms of getting different, I don't know where else we can get different tonight outside of hoping that Luke Kennard in his 18 to 20 minutes can shoot well and maybe see 22 to 24 minutes, right? You can see something from DeMarcus Cousins playing. They don't want to play him a single minute, but he might have to play 6 to 8 minutes tonight. Is that enough? If there's no Zubac, of course, right? So if you're looking for these value pieces that potentially at low ownership, like Patrick Beverly should probably come in today outside of Paul George, who is going to be projected for 15 more points than anybody on the slate. Patrick Beverly should come in as the second most popular player from a player prop standpoint, from a DFS standpoint tonight. But after that, if you're looking for somebody that's a value type play, Marcus Morris at 4,400. If you're looking in the $3,000 and below range, nobody. Like, there's nobody else in the $3,000 range outside of Beverly that I even have projected for a single minute today. Below the $3,000 range is Luke Kennard. So Luke Kennard would be the pivot from Patrick Beverly to Luke Kennard. Kennard will be a third, a quarter of the ownership today as Patrick Beverly, and I think that that's correct because I have Beverly projected for double the amount of points. You're hoping that Luke Kennard's initial 16 minutes land him taking 5 threes, him hitting 3 to 4 of them, playing a little bit more run, and there you go. But you need Luke Kennard to score like 12 to 15 real-life points to get you there, and that's obviously tough in an important closeout game like this one. But if they opt to go more offense, if they opt to take Zubac off the court, Kennard might just fill in naturally there for the offensive side. Big Sal, who is worthy of the captain spot besides George, do you think? Chris Paul would be worthy of the captain spot besides George, in my opinion. George is going to be by far the highest owned captain. I think that people will go towards Ayton because of the cheapness. I think that people will continue to go towards Devin Booker because of his name value. He's just a quality player. He's projected the second highest for me, but I would go with Chris Paul second. So I'd go Paul George, Chris Paul, and that's probably all I'm sticking to. I'm not trying to separate my captains tonight. That's all I have right now. Beverly worth a roll of the dice. Yeah, William, what's going on again? Fellow Italiano potentially. I don't think he's going to be much of a roll of the dice, to be honest with you. Everybody's going to play him. He's going to play 30 minutes. I mean, he'll play at least 25 minutes. If he's playing decent, which he has been lately against Booker, he'll play 28 minutes. And then if he's playing a little bit more than decent, he'll play the 30 plus that you've been seeing, especially because they're not playing Rondo anymore. Also, just to clarify, this is called, yet again, Poly Market. And if anybody wanted to take advantage of it, especially if you're in a state where it is not legal to wager on sports, and we can do this one. If it is not legal to bet on sports there, total volume of trades 780 for just these 70-cent trades. You can check it out, especially for somebody who likes the combination of just stocks and the poly market. It is interesting. Interesting trading here. If you use that code SAL, it is linked down below. You can test it out. You can get lower fees. You can get some action in tonight. I currently have, I ended up getting, let's see. So I ended up placing right here. This is my total outcome. I bought the Suns at 69 or 68, I believe the price was. Let's see, 69 I ended up getting the price of the Suns for. I got 14.3 shares. Let's buy some more if it's still at 69, if it drops to 70. So it's still at 69, saying that they have a 69% chance to win is what this means. Let's get a little bit more. So I'm going to stay on the Suns side of this one. I have them basically everywhere right now. So let's put another 20 on this, and we'll buy those, and we'll see how long it takes to fulfill it. So there's no fees on this one, which is amazing. Beautiful. Thanks, my friend. No problem. Do you like Ayton as captain? Ayton would be my fourth favorite option. And there you go. That just took 5 seconds to actually fill the trade. So we have some action in there. I would encourage you to check this out. It is very interesting, especially the fact, I mean, the market keeps growing liquidity-wise, but especially because of the fact that, one, it's blockchain-based, and it's just accessible everywhere. Like, I'm in Texas, so I have some people in different states doing some things for me in terms of getting some bets in some nights. Now I don't have to worry about that as much in terms of a money line, and also the series, like the NBA Finals, they have some markets up there as well. And I'll be looking at it live because you can live trade in that one. But that's what, I mean, in terms of like finding people that we can talk about on the stream that allow the stream to continue to happen, places like Prize Picks, places like SuperDraft, I get offers probably 3 to 4 times a week to try and partner up with companies. And like, I'll hear them out unless they just don't seem like a fit. And most of them, you know, I don't think it's valuable to you guys or you ladies or you gentlemen or you fellas. This one is low fees, accessible in so many different states, and I'm actually using it. If I'm actually using it, that means that I think other people probably should. It's not some shady type of thing. So let me know if you have any questions on that. Hopefully, I'll probably talk to the guys that I've been talking to over there. They seem like cool dudes, smart dudes. I'll see if they have anything from like either props or anything along those lines that the market can expand to other than just the wins, which is money line, which is a good start, and the series, which is good futures odds. Yeah, he's been a dummy this series, somebody says. Who's been a dummy? You like Ayton over 17.5 points tonight? Let me let you know if I like Ayton over 17.5 points. DeAndre Ayton over 17.5 points. I would lean the under. I have no stance on it. I would lean the under, but I have no stance on it. What's up, fellas? What's going on, boss man? Any updated prize picks? They're the same 3 props as this morning as of right now. I just got a lot of action down tonight. Poly market, prize picks, SuperDraft, Draftkings, the betting market, the straight up spread, not just the money line and poly market. So a lot of action. I'll probably try and snag in another. Like, I like Chris Paul's over points wise. Chris Paul over 17.5 points did seem appealing. We already took the McCall Bridges over points earlier. I don't want to also take Crowder. It looks decent, like projection wise, but I already have Bridges, and those guys they don't cut into each other, but it's hard to see them. They're defensive forces on their team. It's hard to see them both having the offensive game tonight, especially when Booker and Chris Paul have been slumping, right? And you're still going up against a solid defense. But Patrick Beverly over 6.5 points and Chris Paul, or Patrick Beverly over 6.5 points and Chris Paul over his 17.5 would be 2 other ones that I like, and I might as well just place right now. How would you rank Beverly, Connaughton, and Portis for the 2-game slate? Good question. So I do have the 2-game slate projected. This might be the last 2-game slate if the Suns, sadly, I do have the Suns, so I have them in a lot, so I want them to win. But the other part of that, sadly, is we don't get more NBA games because the series won't extend. But I do have right now the Suns. In that 2-game series, I have the Suns tonight and Clippers projected, and the Milwaukee-Atlanta. Hopefully Trae Young can play, so it's actually a fun game to watch, and otherwise it's going to be like a minus fucking 12 spread, and I mean, the Bucks might start to rest starters already for the finals and in the conference championship in Game 4. Wild. But between those 2 players, ranking Beverly, Connaughton, and Bobby Portis, it's going to be Beverly by far number 1. And for number 2 for me, it is Connaughton, and number 3 is Bobby Portis. But by far and away, it's like tier 1 is going to be Beverly, tier 2 is Connaughton, then Portis kind of in the same tier. They're close. My sportsbooks has over-under at 211.5. I'm taking the over. Think if they go small ball, it helps the over chances. If they go small ball, I do believe it helps the over chances. Yes. The reason you go small ball is to try and neutralize Ayton from a hoping that you can just score on him more because they have a guy in the paint, so you're getting more open looks on the outside, right? You kick it in. You probably don't go pick and roll. Maybe you do, but you kick it in. You ball movement. The guy in the paint is slower because he's a bigger player like Ayton, and you're going to get more open shots. Do you knock down those shots is the question. Does Reggie Jackson? Does Marcus Morris? Right? Does Nicholas Batum knock down those shots? And the reason why you go small ball by taking Zubac or whoever the center on your team is off the court is you take him off the court. You have another shooter on the court, somebody who can switch better on defense than Zubac, who has been good this series, but also guys against him are just missing shots, Booker and Chris Paul to be exact in the pick and roll. And you have another shooter on the court. And your goal is then that maybe they force Ayton off the court. So they take one of their good players on offense and defense off the court. And Ayton, they have to go a little bit smaller with Jay Crowder or Cam Johnson at the 5, right? And now you start to take it into your advantage. And that's what the Clippers were able to do in previous series. They were able to do that. In both of their previous series, the Marcus Morris series, the last time out, they were able to force Rudy Gobert. He was pointless out there. They said, oh, you're such a good rim protector. We don't care. We're going to shoot threes all game. Oh, you have nothing to do here. Get off the court. You're only playing 32 minutes in a playoff game instead of 40. Right? And he was the defensive player of the year. And people, I mean, coming out of that series, people were questioning Rudy Gobert's abilities, right? And obviously he's fantastic, but that's not been the case so far. And the big reason why is you don't have Kawhi Leonard and you don't have a healthy Marcus Morris. But we'll see if they do it today. I think that they have to because it's clearly not working the other way around. Ayton is just dominating. Ayton and Reggie or Zubac and Booker. I'll take Ayton and Reggie. Best super draft champion, if Zubac is healthy and probable, him. But now there is some murkiness around his status. So I like Reggie Jackson and I like Patrick Beverly on the super draft spot tonight. What do we got? Pat bet viable today. Yeah, more than viable for sure. I need a bet for tonight that I can wager my children's future on, says Eric Chang. Well, not your children's future, but do what you're going to do. Otherwise, those kids... I guess they're going to hate their dad growing up if this doesn't work out right. So I don't want to be responsible for that. But I do have the Clippers I do have the Suns -5.5. It's now -6, which isn't terrible. It is a change. You're not getting the best line that you could have gotten that day. So long-term, that's not going to work out for you. You will miss some bets long-term, which means you're losing money long-term. But if you're just doing it and you don't care, I would take the Clippers -5.5. Or I would I would head over to the Poly Market. It's linked down below. If you use the code SAL, they'll give you a free match, just free money to credit to be using on your first trade up to $100, so just free money bonus if you use the code SAL, link down below, promo code. But I took the Suns at 69 cents shares for $20 worth, and at 69 cents both times, maybe 68 the one time, 60. So I have 42.69 shares, and the average price I paid was 69 cents. So it was 69 cents. Okay, so I'm in on this one for 42.69. It only costs 70 cents. So that's the other nice thing. You don't have to put like $20 in to join a contest. But yeah, the Suns, basically it's a money line. Do they win game 5? This is saying they're 69 cents each, and that's their probability. So if you are looking for another wager, you can check it out. So what percentage of your income is from content versus gambling winnings? I would say content/business. So like content is the facing part of it, right? But if you just come on here and do a bunch of content, you're not like, there's obviously the Patreon and the tools and stuff that I'm creating. There's a lot of stuff that I do in the back end in terms of email marketing and some consulting stuff and things like that. So it is, I don't count gambling winnings towards the business. I think that would be personally irresponsible. In my opinion, it is not something that is fixed income or something you could rely on. So I think that saying part of your business revenue is from gambling winnings is not something that you should be doing, right? Betting winnings, whatever you want to say, skill-based games, whatever you want to say. But last year it was 10% probably. Last year it was like 8.5 to 9, 8 to 10%, somewhere in there was what it was last year. Was what percentage of my income was from the betting plus everything that you can throw into the bucket. Betting, props, DFS. I think it was about 8 to 10%. And a lot of that came from one day in DFS NFL when we hit the 17,000 total from that Cowboys-Seattle game that week. Right? A lot of it comes from that. Ended up profiting throughout the year like an extra $5 or $6 grand, which might not sound like a lot, but that's also with months of losing for, right? Who's going to win, Clippers or Suns? I have the Suns in the Poly Market, so I have the Suns probabilities in the Poly Market tonight, and I also have the Suns spread at -5.5. 8 and overs are money printers this series. He's been fantastic. Yes, he has. I agree. Best overall captain to build off of says dominates. All right, so we answered that one. Captain tonight, it's Paul George. He's going to be the highest owned guy. Chris Paul after that. Sad, does Cousins get in this game in how many minutes? I have Cousins for 0 minutes tonight. If Zubac is out, we change that to probably Cousins playing like 4 minutes or 5. Right? Zubac's being out does not mean Cousins is starting. No, it does not. It means that they can now more easily, because Zubac was playing well, more easily go to small ball. Cousins cannot play in the NBA playoffs, right? Let's get this real. Unless they have no bodies left, there's no real way that Cousins can play. What does that mean, Sal? Why can't he play? He is not the same DeMarcus Cousins as 5 years ago. He has knee problems. He is slow. He cannot move out there. He cannot shift. He cannot switch. And he might be able to play some offense. So that doesn't work well in the postseason, right? Bridges or Zubac tonight? Nice shirt. Thanks. I appreciate it. Bridges versus Zubac tonight. I will take Zubac if he's a healthy Zubac and starting. Zach, can you explain the payout structure from Polymarket? I'm interested and in a limited betting state. Yeah, if you're in a limiting betting state, even better. Because now this obviously does not limit you. So the payout structure is just if you have... So at the end of this game, whichever side wins, if it's the Suns 69 cents, which also equals 69% chance of winning, how the market works, every single share that you own, so I just bought 20 shares, let's just say, so I currently own 42 shares, 42.7 shares, let's call it 42 shares of Suns at 69 cents. If they win, every single share is paid out to $1 or 100% of the outcome, because at the end of the game, the Suns have 100% won the game, right? So every share that I have, I will win 31 cents on. Now, on the opposite side, the incentive to take the underdog Clippers is, if the Clippers are to win, every share you own of them, you get 69 extra cents. They triple, more than triple in value, right? But obviously, the probability is lower. 31% chance of winning is what this market is currently indicating. So you get paid out per share $1. That $1 is equivalent to 100%, because at the end of the game or the end of the outcome, it's not just sports. They have other markets as well. Politics, really random stuff. They'll do some fun stuff as well. Maybe the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, who knows, all that type of stuff. But yes, at the end of it, it's a 100% outcome. If anybody else is interested, you could ask me here. You can have more of a conversation in Instagram, or not Instagram more so, but like Twitter DMs you can send me in the Discord. And if you want to take a quick phone call, and if that helps you out quicker, you can reach out to me. And if you're serious about actually wanting to play or learn more about it, just let me know. So we have an updated market, is just what I have been told for the Poly market tonight, as we're live right now. So let's pull that one up. We got told that about 5 minutes ago. I'll pull that updated market up. Ooh, this one's got $35,000 in liquidity. Oof, and oof, we're getting better. We're getting better odds here. This is good. Wow. So we got an updated market on liquidity, meaning it's just kind of like a second in-game trading is opening up. So this one, as you can see, the updated market, meaning that there's more money in it. There's more people's money in it. $35,000 are in this tonight instead of the $3,000. Look at the updated markets odds. So 67% chance. I just told you earlier, the Clippers have a 72.2% chance betting, based on all of the betting markets averaged together. This is saying a 67% chance. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to come in here and we're going to buy even more odds. So we're buying even more shares, $20 more of shares. So we're buying $20 more of shares. So now we're invested in with probably somewhere around 60-something shares. Somebody says he's off the injury report. Zubac is Zubac best play tonight, though. Is he off the injury report? Did that just come in? Let's see. Let's see if there's an update there. All right, so we got that one in. That's good. So, yeah, the new market is now just 67 cents, which is a big difference from 70, which might not sound like a big difference, but it is. Every single share that I get, I am making now an additional 3 cents. So Zubac there's no update on Zubac playing yet. He's still questionable as of right now. Minutes projections for the Clippers with Zubac banged up. I'm still projecting Zubac to be in and start. I have Zubac projected for 34 minutes, not the 40 he saw last time. When we get an injury update, if we get an injury update that says game time decision, if we get one that says he's not starting, then we switch it. And they're going small ball, and Zubac's probably not going to play more than 20 minutes, 24 minutes. But if Zubac is starting, I assume that he plays 34 minutes. Who's going to win, the Clippers or the Suns? I have the Suns right now. What's up, Sal? Booker or Paul tonight in showdown slate? Booker or Paul? I'll take Paul, my man. I'll take Paul. Bridges or Zubac? I'll take Zubac if he starts. Avicii Zubac captain says dominate. Best of luck. Best of luck. Man or Payne? Awesome. Thanks, Polymacker. It seems cool. I'm going to give it a try. It says Duncan W. There you go. Duncan, remember to use the code SAL because that is the only way that you get that offer. Whatever your first trade is, so if you do a first trade, meaning you buy some shares, you place a bet. If you do that and you put $20 in, they'll give you an additional $20. So whatever your first trade is, they're going to give you that matched up to $100 in bonus. So if you want to try out the platform for the rest of the postseason, you want to put the full 100 in, they'll give you 100. If you just want to try it out tonight and you don't want the extra credits, you see how it goes, you put the 20, you get 20. There you go. Man, Payne, or Beverly filling in last spot on the 2-gamer. Man, Payne, or Beverly filling in. So you don't care about, since it's the last spot you're filling in, I assume that you do not care at all about the salary, which in that case, I believe the answer is going to be Man for me. I have Man for about 1.5 points more than Beverly. What do we got here? We've got Aiton captain going to be chalk, ? I think he's not going to be the most highly owned player, Aiton will not be the highest owned player today in the captain spot. It's going to be clearly Paul George. Why? Because in the NBA, the highest scoring captains dominate. And that might seem obvious. Well, whoever scores the most is obviously going to be the captain in any sport, Sal. Well, yes, depending on price, right? It's not always the case. But in the NBA, it is easier for somebody in the NFL who is the number 3 wide receiver on a team, or maybe even the number 4, to be in the captain spot, because they're very cheap, and they have, if they run 10 routes in the game, they have a chance to catch 2 balls for 50 yards and a touchdown, and bang, they just scored 18 real life points, and bang, they just scored 27 points at a cheap price point. They're in the captain spot. It is very rare for somebody in the NBA who plays 10 to 12 to 14 to 15 minutes, who doesn't play a lot, to ever score a lot of fantasy points, right? It's just very, very rare because of the way that the game works. There's a lot of scoring in the game. It's not like football where maybe a team scores 3 touchdowns. The NBA, teams, unless it's that last game, the lowest scoring game between these two teams of the entire year, 164 total points, 84 to 80, that game 4 that the Suns won. Outside of that, you're getting 220 points on average in the NBA these days, right? So, with that said, it's very tough to not go chalk, if you will, at captain a lot, which makes it difficult, which is why I'm trying to give some alternatives. Prize Picks, Player Props, right? And Polymarket, trying to give some alternatives to these DFS markets when it's just a showdown slate. So 2-game slates help a little bit, but because it's really hard to not play Paul George. Because I like Paul George is the best captain tonight. Everybody knows that. I like Paul after that. I think some people will be a little bit off. Fellas, Sal, what's your favorite pump play in the showdown slate? So in the showdown slate today, I think that Patrick Beverly is the best cheap play, but he's going to be owned. So if we're looking for a punt that will be lower owned, I think that your answer is going to be Luke Kennard. If they go small ball and they need 3s, Luke Kennard will get on the court. He's more offensive, and when you go small ball, you're trying to be more offensive. The problem with Luke Kennard is you're lucky if you get any other peripherals out of him. Maybe you get 2 rebounds. Maybe you get 1 assist. But he's like Bryn Forbes. He's spot up and he's shooting. Bryn Forbes shoots the hardest shots in the NBA. He comes off a screen and he's fading backwards and maybe he makes it, right? 40% and 37% of the time. But yes, it's tough. It's tough today in terms of the punts. I think that your best punt is going to look very much like Luke Kennard, and you're just hoping that if he gets 20 to 22 minutes because he's playing well, which means he gets more minutes if he's playing well, you're hoping in that time he gets 8 shot attempts and he knocks down 6 of them and 4 of them are 3s and he has 17 real life points, right? That's what you're looking for here. So that would be the punt. Sal, Zubac was hurt. You think he'll play the same or fall back now? I have him falling back now. I have him at 34 minutes. I think 40 is big no matter what. I think they want to go more small ball. If we get any other news, I'll bump him down even more. That main news would probably be him not starting. If Zubac wasn't starting, I currently have him at, if we pull it up right now, I have Zubac at 34 minutes of play. I'll pull up Phoenix's minutes and we can talk about those. Kennard, a decent value, yes, just relative to the 1-game slate. If we're talking 1-game slates, yes. Thanks, Polymarket seems cool. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's off, but MCL sprain to his knee. He's playing through it. Any setbacks now? Yeah, no setbacks now. Nothing changes for me right now. So I was going to Connor Poirier 3. You're going to be there. Oh, you're going to Connor and Poirier 3? Damn. No, I'm not going to be there. I have a bachelor party. Zubac or Man? Zubac or Man today? The answer is still going to be Zubac, assuming he starts. Reggie Jackson or Capella for the 2-game slate. Yeah, so we have the 2-game slate projected. It is on Patreon. You can check that out. Our monthly service for all you ladies, gentlemen, and fellows. We'll throw the link in the description right now. But Reggie Jackson or Man for the 2-game slate. Is that what we had here? Yes, Reggie Jackson or Capella for the 2-game slate. Different teams make sense. I have Capella, so let's factor this by team. I have Reggie Jackson right now as my number 10 play, and Capella is my number 9 play. Capella obviously takes up a captain spot or a center spot, which hurts your lineup. I have Capella for 1.5 more points, and he's only $200 more. So they're neck and neck. They're both top 10 plays for me. I would personally take Reggie Jackson. Capella might be lower owned because he plays tomorrow, and more people want to play players from tonight's game, so they don't have to wait for their guys. That's actually a real psychological thing, and that's how you can take advantage of some game theory stuff in the peer-to-peer sports spaces. But yes, that would be one way. Any other questions? Get them in now as we're approaching 40-plus minutes live. Going to see some bats tonight, so going to bounce shortly. But any final questions, get them all up in here now as we close out the stream. There's going to be a Game 4 tomorrow. It is going to be 2-1 Bucks, so we'll cover Game 4 in the morning. We'll do a live stream later in the day, and then depending on what happens tonight, we will either cover Wednesday what would be Game 6 in LA in the Clippers court, so it could be Staples Center, it could be something interesting. So that will be depending on what happens Wednesday. All these series are basically going to finish up over the weekend, and then July 8th, which is next Thursday, is going to be the NBA Finals starts off. We'll be covering the NBA Finals. I'll be having a bachelor party, so I believe I'll have to miss one of the games covering them. But we'll be covering the NBA Finals, and then right after the NBA Finals over, we got about a 2.5 week lull until football starts. So we're just going to be chilling out, relaxing, maxing out cool, enjoying the summer, enjoying the family and the friends. Does Ayton have an advantage with Zubac hurting? So we got this question earlier. I think there's a case to be made that it's worse for Ayton if Zubac is out. And that might sound crazy, but if Zubac is out, they're able to go small ball the entire game. And if they have success going small ball, when you have success going small ball, you're shooting a lot of threes, you're getting open shots, you have to put another defender on the court because Ayton, a center, is not going to be quick enough to get out to the three-point line. And even if he's somewhat quick enough, now you're leaving yourself open to never getting offensive rebounds. So I think Zubac, if he was to miss or be limited, actually hurts Ayton. Now, Ayton is playing fantastic. Ayton's still going to get rebounds unless they start shooting lights out and not the 20%, 16% from three they shot last game. But if they can start shooting 35, 45% from three in this game, the Clippers, it could force Ayton off the court. And instead of the 41.5 minutes he got last time out, he only plays 34, 35 minutes. And that's a pretty big difference for the second highest owned captain on the slate, for somebody who's taking all the action right now in the player prop market's overs. So it might seem like a hot take. It might seem like a crazy take. Zubac being limited or out, I think hurts Ayton. Because Zubac, when he's on the court for 40 minutes, Ayton's out there all 40 minutes. Ayton doesn't have to worry about switching. Ayton gets to stay in the paint. He gets to have an offensive advantage against Zubac. He gets to stay there for offensive rebounds and not have to go out to try and guard threes. You know what I'm saying? Where's the advantage? Tonight's game heavy or tomorrow's? The advantage, I think, right now, so there's going to be a big question mark for Trae Young tomorrow. But I think there's a pretty big advantage in the Suns -5.5. The advantage is more so in the prop markets every night. There's some advantages and edges, right? We've taken 3. We've talked about 4 tonight. I'm going to take Patrick Beverly over 6.5 points and add that. And I'm going to take over Chris Paul 17.5 points. But there's always edges there. In the actual betting market, I like the spread tonight more than tomorrow, but there's still a little bit of an edge. We have to see what happens with Trae Young, though, so I'm hesitant until we get that news. But the spread at -5.5, it's still out there if you can find it. I do like that. And Poly Market taking the Clippers shares, or the Suns shares, I apologize. I do like that. Yeah, it makes sense out there. You go. Bogdan on the 2-gamer, he has been looking very good. So Bogdan got more minutes. That's good. Maybe he's getting healthier, but also Trae got a little bit nicked up. There's some foul trouble. But yes, Bogdanovich on the 2-gamer, I have him as a yes. Bogdanovich ranks out as my number 12 play on the 2-gamer. Booker struggle again, in your opinion? I think he plays much better than what he played last game, right? But now that the face guard is off, he says he's not going to wear it. We'll see what happens there, if that's actually going to be the case, or if he just threw it off in frustration / the middle of a game adrenaline. But I think Beverly continues to play well. Booker's going to eventually adjust. He's going to eventually stop shooting this poorly and make a three-pointer, unlike last game. So compared to last game, I think he plays better. Compared to game 1, I don't think he hits that level because Chris Paul's back and Beverly is on him for 30 minutes now. Bridges and Reggie or Portis and Ayton for the 2-gamer. Give me Bridges and Reggie. Give me Bridges and Reggie. SuperDraft top player says Grand Attraction Inc. What's going on, Grand Attraction? So some top options that I do enjoy from SuperDraft are going to be, so Zubac is going to be one of them, but obviously we've already talked about the concerns there because of this injury that he is currently dealing with. But outside of Zubac, I would rank my interest from this team as Reggie Jackson, or this game in terms of SuperDraft, Reggie Jackson, Patrick Beverly, Mann, Paul George, Chris Paul, Ayton. You still like the Suns, even though most of the money / public is on them, seems too easy. I don't think the public's on them. No, I think it's the opposite. Earlier today, the public bet the Clippers, and they moved the line from -5.5 to -5. That means they're betting on the Clippers. Now it's moved from -5 to -6. And I think that's sharp money. I think sharp money has the ability to move at a point in 2 hours. I don't think public money does. What does sharp money mean? A lot of it. Sharp money means people are putting down confident money. So I think that the public, at least earlier today and most of the day last night and today, was on actually the Clippers. But yes, I mean, money line wise, 72% chance to win. You can get it in the poly market for 67% right now. Let's see if that's changed. That's obviously an edge and also what I think happens. So I'll take the edge when I think what my brain is saying and the numbers are saying. Yeah, I'll take that. Wow, look at this. Holy shit. Are too many people watching the stream? It's starting to move now, the poly market, a little bit. The bigger market I don't think is, though. Yeah, the bigger market's still at 67. So still at 67% chance to win is what this is saying. I have it, and I'm seeing it as a 72.5% chance, so I took the Sun shares. Took the Sun shares right to now. I like it. It's like a trading platform. It's pretty cool. You can see the total amount that's in it right now. Pretty fun. But yeah, I think the Suns, and here's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of ways to break it down. McCall Bridges didn't play well last game. Chris Paul has not played well in the 2 games he's been back. And Devin Booker has not played well since game 1, and they're up 3-1 in this series. Right? I mean, games have been close, right? Game 2 could have been a Clippers win if Paul George makes some free throws, potentially, right? But really shouldn't have been that close anyways. They got a 5-0 run in the final, 70 seconds. But, yeah, it's a 3-1 series lead without 2 of your best 4 players really doing anything in this series since game 1, Devin Booker. Paul Booker or Ayton? I'll take Paul. Thoughts on Marcus Morris tonight? Only 25 minutes of play projected for Marcus Morris. He's going to have to knock down threes, right? He'll maybe knocks on some threes. He seems limited. If Marcus Morris was fully healthy, he'd be playing 37 minutes a night in the series. And they'd be playing small ball. That's my opinion. If he was fully healthy, and not so much on the offensive side because he can just kind of shoot some jump shot threes, have a PJ Tucker role on offense, but defensively, he's sort of a liability. He's sort of a liability defensively because of this injury. He's slow. He's not hurting. Maybe he is actually hurting, but he's hurting in terms of his speed to adjust and switch. Some final questions. Let's get them in now. Close this one up. Game starts a little later tonight. What does it start? 9 p.m. East Coast time, so in 2 hours or so. I wanted to get the stream done a little early so people can actually have time to view it if they weren't able to join the live stream. Best captain spot for DraftKings. The best captain is going to be Paul George. He's going to be the highest owned captain. He's not going to be 50 or 60% owned, though, but he's expensive, so he'll still be 25% owned. After that, Chris Paul. Chris Paul is going to be a nice captain. It'll be Paul George and Chris Paul for me. If you're looking for a captain to just throw a prayer on, the answer for me would be Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson today, because of his price point, $8,600, he's going to be like a 6 or 7% owned captain, and that's very low for a slate that has a lot more money in the price pool in DraftKings, $150,000 instead of $100. It's going to be a millionaire maker next Thursday for the NBA Finals Game 1. That's a lot of fun, right? But Reggie Jackson would be the quote unquote low probability to hit for you because of the price point and just his role, but high upside because of his low ownership and his role on this team. Play 39 or 40 minutes like Paul George is going to do in a potential elimination game, might play 40 to 42 minutes, and he's going to shoot a ton. He's going to shoot 20 times. He's going to shoot 8 to 10 three-pointers. So Reggie Jackson is going to have every ability to pop the fuck off tonight if he is efficient. Does the under hit again, says Jeff? Yeah, it hit in a major way. I mean, it hit. You could fucking cash that thing at halftime, it almost seems at this point. Does it hit again? I have no stance on the over-unders. I really haven't placed any over-unders. I think there's, in the NBA, in the NFL, you can find chances in over-unders. You can find chances in PJ in the 3 balls, like in their groups, who's going to win this hole, who's going to win the round, really. Really hard to find edges in the over-unders in general. I would say, if anything, though, I like the over. I lean the over in this game. It's a very low over-under, and it is a very low over-under with 2 teams that are playing fine defense, but also just shooting extremely poorly. Guys in slumps. Best players in the series in slumps right now. Who's your cheap utility you're willing to go to? Patrick Beverly is the best cheap utility. After that, Marcus Morris, and I don't want to play in any significant entry, like any high-stakes stuff, Luke Kennard. I wouldn't touch it, but he's the punt to try and win you $150K if he scores 15 points in 15 minutes type of thing. What do we got here? Cheapest punt, Luke Kennard for me. Cam Johnson, good pick tonight. I'm not on it. Low producer. He had 10 points, which is like a massive game for him in the postseason for sure. The last time out, he can dribble the ball. He plays nice defense, so it keeps him on the court a little bit more. But I struggle to see where he comes in because Crowder and McCall Bridges are going to play massive defense. Bridges is actually going to shoot a little bit more. Those guys are going to play 36 to 38 minutes tonight. I just, as long as Dario Saric is still in the rotation, I struggle to see where the minutes come from Cam Johnson. And when I say minutes, I mean like him playing 28 to 30 to actually hit because he's a low point per minute producer. All right, let's finish it up with these final questions. Hello, Salvatore. We got Evan in the chat. He says, I want CP3 in the captain, so get stuck with Saric in the lineup. That dumb. I think I'd rather go to Luke Kennard. He doesn't do anything from a... I mean, Saric could help you if they go small. They might play a little bit more Saric if the Clippers are effective. So that's like one way to angle it for yourself. So right now I have Saric for 7 fantasy points. I lowered his minutes. His minutes have been coming down. Obviously, Ayton's have been going up because of that, because Zubac have been going up, so they can keep Ayton out there more and match him. So there's a chance that Saric can go up to like 10 to 12 minutes today. I have Kennard, though, with no with no Rondo in the minutes projections. I have Kennard right now for around 20 minutes of play, and I have him for only 10 fantasy points. That's how bad this is, bad of a matchup. But I would take Kennard at 28, unless you can't afford Kennard and your only options are Saric, Craig, and Nader. Then yeah, go Saric. I like Chris Paul captain too. I would say that Paul George is the best option. Chris Paul is the best realistic upside option that is not picking up massive ownership. Like he'll be top 5 owned, but not 1, 2, or 3 right now. And then Reggie Jackson is your best low owned, high upside captain today. Is Zubac hurt? MCL sprain. Yes, he's dealing with something. He is not out tonight, but he is questionable. People are telling me that he's off the injury report. I'm not seeing that official report, but even if it's the case, just to be on the injury report, it's worse than clearly at this point not being on it, right? Crowder, Portis, and Ayton or Bridges, Mann, and Reggie. I'll take Bridges, Mann, and Reggie. Who's the cheapest utility you're willing to go to? Patrick Beverly and anything with a lot of money and just find ways to get different elsewhere, like a Reggie Jackson captain lineup. But other than that, Luke Kennard to punt. You like Payne or Rondo at all? I have Rondo for 0 minutes, so not him. It would be Payne. What's good, Sal? Just able to tune in. Had to come show some love with you while you still were live. Hey, Akil, I appreciate that. All right, everybody. So I appreciate you tuning in. We're going to bounce. I think we got to all the questions. How risky is it to fade Paul George in a small field single entry? Very risky because he's going to be 98% owned. So if he gets hurt, basically, or he fouls out, then you're probably benefiting. But other than that, just the way that he's all over the court, the fact that he's like rebounding, fucking 10 rebounds are a given at this point, is over under prop there. Double-double bonus is a given at this point. I mean, it's hard to see him not being a top 3 scorer on the slate. And when that happens, normally you're in the lineup, even when you are expensive. How risky is it, though? 98% chance it doesn't, or the market right now is saying 98% chance that they're playing him. So I think he's just a plug and play today. I think he's somebody to play. All right, gang, we're going to bounce. If you do want to check out, if you're getting in late or you're just watching on the replay, if you want to check out Polymarket, you can buy shares of what happens tonight. So buy shares in the market of what happens tonight. You can trade some shares and make your bets. This basically means the Suns are 67 cents, meaning they have a 67% chance to win is what the market is saying, right? Not obviously the outcome, but the Clippers 33%. So if the Suns do win, every share you buy of them is valued at $1. So you would get, if you bought this price point, 33 cents per share. I am currently in right now for 27 shares at this price point and 42 shares. So that would be around 70 shares I currently have of the Suns from either 67 to 69 cents a piece. So you can check it out if you want to use the code SAL. They have a bonus, but it's only if you use the code SAL. If you just sign up or you use another code, it won't work. We have one specific we're trying to work out, see if it works, and maybe use it during the NFL season. Code SAL, linked down below. You will get your first trade, whatever you put in. If it's $20 you put in your first trade, you'll get $20 in credit. You put in $100, $100 in credit. So you can check it all out down below. Pat Bev and Kennard in the same lineup, okay. I mean, overall points upside, it's rough. Like if those guys combined for 35, if those guys combined for 40 points, you're ecstatic. But in real life, that stinks. So I would say I don't want those two guys together. All right, peace out, gang. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, do those things, and I'll see you in the next one tomorrow. Game 4, Bucks and Hawks. See ya later, fellas. I'm going to go look at some bats on a bridge. Oof, shit.